do not mention freelance work if you are trying to get a permanent job. If you're interviewing to get freelance work, it's like a contract role or something, fair enough. But if you're trying to become like a permanent employee, and that's what you're here to interview for, don't mention freelance work, don't mention anything on the side. Because they will get the impression, you've got things going on the side, or you have potential to have things going on the side because you've done it before. Okay, no, thank you. We're going with somebody else, right? Because they don't like that. You and I both know that freelance work and things like that is awesome. It says a lot about you. You're the type of person that can do that. You probably have some incredible skills. But that's not going to impress them because they are the opposite of freelance work. They do not want you doing freelance work when you're working for them. They want you to be dependent on them. They want you to be entirely focused on them, available at their beck and call, and they want to be scared. They want you to be scared of losing your job with them so that you work really hard. Okay, so don't mention freelance work. Do not mention mental health. Okay, like if you had mental health issues, if you did, that's fine. That's a real thing. It needs to be addressed and everything. But don't talk about it in a job interview because once again, they will come away thinking, okay, you're a person that has had mental health issues. That makes you riskier as a choice if we pick you. What's to say you don't have mental health issues now for all we know? We don't know. So just don't mention that. It'll make a bad impression. I'm sure it was the reason, and I'm sure, it all makes sense what you're saying, and it's all true, but it won't be regarded as a good thing, okay? Unfortunately. If you have a current employment gap, meaning that the last job you had was like over 2 years ago, so you have a 2-year work gap, the only real thing that I know of that is somewhat effective at explaining it away to a recruiter is to say that it wasn't really a gap, you went back to school. Okay, it was a gap in your employment because you went back to school. It was a conscious decision. You weren't let go. It wasn't unplanned. Because the problem with the work gap is the way recruiters think is that if you were out of work for 2 years, maybe there's a reason for that you're not telling us. We don't know. Like, oh yeah, sure, you say it's because of this. But how do we know? We don't know that that's the truth. There could be a real underlying issue. All we know is that other people weren't hiring you. Maybe there's a reason for that, right? This is how these people think. This is how they're taught to think. I know this because I used to teach recruiters in university. It's recruitment theory. They're not looking for the best candidate. They're looking for the least risky candidate. And all of these things make you a riskier candidate in their eyes. The only thing I know of that you can really say is you say like, look, it was a conscious decision. I wanted to update my skills. I wanted to go back, take some classes, take some courses, and I did. And now that I've updated my skills on this, and this, now I'm ready to rejoin the workforce. And just to make sure that that's not a total lie, go out right now, go register for some free classes somewhere, just so you can say honestly, legitimately, I've taken classes or courses in this and this and this, and that's what I've brushed up my skills on. And now I'm here because it's time to get back to work. That diffuses a lot of the risk. They go, okay, it was planned. It makes sense. You're adding value. Okay, now you're ready. You're following a plan. There's no red flags anywhere in there. The sick family member thing. Like, listen, there's always exceptions, right? Everything happens some of the time. But generally speaking, the problem with that is that if you had a sick family member before, you can have a sick family member again. And that also means you're a riskier candidate, right? It's stupid, but these are the assumptions they make. That's what recruiters do. They make assumptions based on stereotypes because they're trying to get to know you without actually getting to know you and putting the time in, right? So the only thing they can do is they can play the odds for all these things. And the odds are that people who have long work gaps, they have a higher likelihood of having another long work gap, statistically. Does that mean that applies to you? No, of course not. But that's what they're going off. Hopefully that makes sense. There's something called a current work gap. That means a work gap right now. You've been out of work for a while. Your last job was a while ago, maybe 2 years ago, right? That's what a current work gap is. If it's a previous work gap, like you got a job and then you left the job, there was a gap of 2 years, and then you got another job after the end of that 2-year absence, now you've left the job and you're looking for another job now. So there isn't a current work gap. That's different. Recruiters don't really care too much, generally speaking, about previous work gaps. They only really care about a current work gap. Okay, that's when it becomes a problem.